Good afternoon. I am Tomorrow, and you're listening to Spreaker Podcast Radio. Please download this app, which is available on Google Play and the App Store. Make sure you mark your podcast as favorite. This way you'll receive all my notifications as soon as I publish something new. Or you can go to Spreaker's website at www.spreaker.com. Then go to my profile page. From there, you can find all my episodes. My profile name is Tomorrow. Okay, everyone. Do I have some things to talk about today? I am going to be talking about criminal justice. And also, I want to talk about relationships. And here to talk with me about these topics is none other than Marcus Ceasar, who is a Navy veteran. Also, he has a degree in criminal justice, right?
Thank you for having me, Tamar.
And you also have a lot of experience in relationships.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
Chris, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you can be here today with me.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Chris, first, let me start out with asking you, how many years did you serve in the Navy?
I did 8 years. Did 8 years in the Navy.
Okay. Was there a reason why you decided to get out?
After the 8 year, I felt like it was too much. It was time to go. It's not for everybody. The military has a lot of good, but I believe that we had grew apart.
Okay, so when you say you grew apart, what does that exactly mean when you grew apart?
It mean I started realizing that, hey, they told me that, schooling, I'm not going to get this schooling done, in the military the way I wanted to get it done. So in order to get it done, I just decided that I had to get out.
Okay. So at what point did you decide, hey, I think I'm going to start pursuing a criminal justice career? At what point did you want to decide to do that?
That's an interesting story because, in my life, I just looked down the curriculums. I picked the curriculum. It was, as long as it didn't have a lot of math, I went with it. I did not want the ones with all that math.
Okay. So there was no desire to say, hey, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a
that came after
police
I picked
officer
it.
or
that came all after I picked it because the reason you come up with becoming a lawyer or a police officer, you have to be in classes with police officers or with lawyers or probation officers so you can figure out what kind of route you would take to become any of one of those occupations.
Okay, so criminal justice. So you chose criminal justice because you just kind of you said kind of went down. Okay, it wasn't full of math, but it did have math.
One class. It has statistics, really? And anybody who's taking statistics, run for the hills if you have
hard,
it.
Right?
Yes,
yeah,
very hard.
Yeah. Okay, well then, how does anybody choose criminal justice? How do you know if that was right for you? So when you started, and how did you know that was right for you?
Okay, so when I started, I had my doubts because when you first go to school, you take your little test, you're doing English, you're doing, reading. You're like, wait a minute, when I get into the curriculum of criminal justice, will this really fit for me? So I started out like, man, I may not get through this, but it became interesting because a lot of things was happening in that time. Obama became president, I love that, and a lot of, blacks were being killed by police officers. So, you want to learn ways to figure out the system that we're in so that I could be able to dissect what's going on with the media, with our people, with ourselves to protect not only me, but just, people as a whole.
Oh, okay. So how many fields is there? I mean, can you choose different things? Is there a big realm of criminal justice, departments? Can you, because I'm not really sure about criminal justice. I know it's kind of, under this umbrella of, like a family tree. You have, different areas to where you can pick, because really criminal justice is just generalizing what specific fields you can pick.
Most people who do criminal justice, they can do sociology. Sociology is kind of based off a group. You know, a lot of people do psychology because psychology is the person. Then you can take it to criminology. Criminology is crime and the reason why crimes are committed. You know, from just people, you know, groups like Al Qaeda, those type of deals, countries, because crimes are committed all over the world, every day, every minute. One's probably committed right now. You know, they have spectrums. There are spectrums. Right. Like human resources, that's in criminal justice as well.
Oh, is it?
It's out branched a little bit. You have to go and get the degree in that field because now you're getting special. You know, and the human resources is basically like your managers of your company. They pretty much put your schedule together. They're the ones they send in the room to go hire and fire you.
Okay, so there's a lot of different fields to go into. So how many would you say are there under criminal justice?
When I did my research to check to see how many particular fields, it could be 20 fields that I looked up, but it could mount to like 50. Because it branches. Wow. It branches. Police dispatcher, policeman, police recruit. You can have a walking guard. You can have a majority of police fields. You can have probation officer, counselor. You know, you can have...
So all that falls under criminal justice.
It's a whole spectrum. Investigators, private investigators, the whole nine. It's all...
Okay, so when you get your degree, what exactly... Under what criminal justice is it that you particularly did?
I started off with, you know, a bachelor's in arts. But when I was brought to my attention by my counselor, I was going to have to take 4 Spanish classes, and I didn't want to do that. So I turned it to a Bachelor of Science, which then took those 2 Spanish classes and turned them into sciences. I had to go do 2 science classes, which the trade-off is better. Okay. I'm not fluent in none of them languages, so I'd rather do it that way.
So if you took, how many Spanish classes did you take?
I only took 2 classes. Okay. By turning into a Bachelor of Science, you
So how much Spanish do you know now?
I'm telling you.
¿Cómo estás?
E2, you know what I'm saying? Keep it simple.
Oh, you know that? Hey.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Okay, so what can you use that degree towards?
That degree, like we was talking about earlier, you can use it to pretty much branch off into a lot of different fields. Once you get a bachelor's, you can become a doctor, you become a dentist, you can actually go to school to become a lawyer. Now, everything needs funding. I wouldn't just say go take your degree and try to go to school, because now the cost will change. The credit hours go up drastically for law school to become a doctor, you know, all those particular fields. So once you want to move it further along, you have to also get accepted. It's not like you walk in these doors
after
either.
You get the degree in criminal justice, you can then further that and go into a particular field, just like, you know, dentists go into a specialty.
Yes.
You know, so it's kind of like that. You just kind of, you can keep going and go into a particular specialty field.
Yeah, and most people, they will want to be a part of those systems, like I mentioned, the FBI or police department or the CIA, so they can pay for you to go further in your career, because a lot of us, we're not fortunate enough to be able to, you know, afford college. College is very expensive.
Okay. So how would it be, what would you say to someone who can't afford to go to college? How would they? How would they find that avenue?
If they're young, I would tell them to make the best grades, you know, because scholarships are available to a lot of kids who, you know, make good grades in school. I really didn't get it when I was young, but as I've gotten older, get high grades, because everything's competition. No, everything's competition.
Yeah.
It starts from that time. As we look back on our lives, we see, dang, in school, I wasn't only doing this for myself, but I was doing this for my future, my children. So that's competition. If I don't score or get the best grades, I'm going to be possibly overlooked. They might not want me. You know, if they go back in my history and see I got D's and C's in high school or
so
elementary.
If you get good grades, what doors would that open for that student?
The doors open tremendously once your grades are good, because being competitive.
What benefits would that student get?
They get the best scholarship. They get the acceptance letter. Everything is about being accepted. Like, you don't want to, if you never had it in your life, getting a a rejection letter. Hey, it happens to the best of them. But to get rejected in something, and it limits you, because now you're knocking down all the chances for you to be able to move forward. Once you run out of chances, then you'll have to figure out how to make ends meet somewhere else, because life keeps going.
Okay. So the important thing is get good grades.
Get good grades.
Because then good grades can lead to maybe a full scholarship towards getting that criminal justice degree.
Matter of fact, I wanted to add that, they had a study come out. Can't remember who made the study, that people who get bachelor's and master's degrees, who actually work in field, make 7 times the amount than the person who just graduated a high school degree or GED. So that's saying a lot. Because most people make on an annually average $20,000 and plus. But imagine timing that by 7. That's 6 figures. No question, if you're in your degree field.
So what is the importance, Chris, of getting a bachelor's degree? Rather it's in criminal justice or anything. Can you express to our listeners the importance of higher education?
Getting a degree is like a bridge, especially a bachelor's. Like, I'm going to start with getting your diploma or your GED. Boom, you got your diploma, your GED. The next step will be to get an associate's. 60 credits, right? You get that associate's. You're a little more higher than the person with a GED and a high school diploma. Still competitive there. So now you want to go and get your bachelor's. You then went up 2 years from that associate's. That's 60 more credits. So you get those 60 more credits. Now you're at a bachelor's. You're standing higher than the associate and the person with the GED, but you're still under the person with the master's and the PhD. So you're in the middle. I call it, you're the gateway now, because you can go here, 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 here. But if you have a high school diploma or an associate's, you still have to do something to get to a bachelor's. You're not open to those opportunities to go here, 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 here. I want to become a nurse. I want to become a doctor. I want to become a lawyer. I want to become a scientist. Those avenues become open once you get that bachelor. Those doors ain't even really that open to you until you get that, because now you can apply for it. Schools make it that with a bachelor's, you can only apply for it when you have one. That's why a lot of people in society have bachelors. When you see graduating classes, it'd be over hundreds of people in there. I had to see it for myself. I was like, man, my class is over 600 people in here. Like, high school, I think only 30 people graduated. And I was in the city. So I'm like, ghetto school, you know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is, it shows you that.
Where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, okay, okay. So did you went to school there, high school, middle school, all that? You grew up there in New Orleans?
Born, raised, learned how to live out in the street from there, from New Orleans, Louisiana. Taught some hard lessons there. But school, a lot of public school.
Who pushed you?
Who pushed me? My oldest sister.
Is that one person who inspired you?
Yes,
would you
same
say that?
person. My oldest sister, Marcus Ceasar. I'll never let that rest.
Is that your only sibling?
I have 5 other sisters. Well, 4 other sisters with her.
So you grew up around a lot of females.
All women. I grew up around all women. No bathroom time.
Oh, we'll talk about relationships. I do have some questions on that. But I really have, I have some questions on criminal justice. Since you have that degree and that knowledge on criminal justice, I really do have some questions. And my first one is, what is your outlook on police-involved shootings?
How can I break this down? I want
everybody.
everybody.
That's a really
I'll go into it right now.
Interesting question, right?
Police shootings.
But I just really want your opinion on that.
Want people to listen to me clear. Like, the differences in homicide, murder, and manslaughter. These 3 words. Like homicide, the killing of a person by another. That's interesting, because that brings to mind Tamir Rice being killed by that police officer in Cleveland. In fact, his police officer was fired in 2017, not because he killed Tamir Rice, but he had incorrect information on his application. That's deep. A black life's not that important, but the information on the application that's incorrect was more important to let him go.